Sleep is difficult because there are so many reasons people don't sleep, right? The most important thing I think with sleeping is one, make sure your environment is the right environment. So you don't have any electronics on, right? Your phone is not around you. You don't have any blue light around. Your room should be dark. Don't try to go to bed at night with the TV on or, music or those types of things because that stimulates your mind. The other thing is go to bed at the same time and try to wake up at the same time. And you have to be diligent about that. I started looking at my sleep 4 months ago. I started wearing an app, a Whoop, and looking at the hours of sleep, my light sleep, and then my REM and my deep sleep. And what I realized was cognitively and energetically, I was much better when my deep sleep was better, which kind of makes sense, right? And so what I was doing over the last 6 months or so is figuring out, well, what can I do to improve my deep sleep? And one of the simplest things that really, really worked for me was using earplugs. And how this out like, and I didn't think about it initially when I was looking at my numbers. I was like, let me just collect data for a month. Let me see kind of where things sit, and then and kind of go from there. And what happened is I was hunting in Texas several years back, and some of the guys that I hunt with all are overweight, and most of them have sleep apnea and snore really, really loudly. And I remember I couldn't sleep because of either the CPAP machines or the snoring. And I went into my bag, grabbed some earplugs, put my earplugs in, and had this incredible restful sleep. And I felt energetic that morning when I went to go hunt. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Maybe I'll try that. And I did. And there's a direct correlation, at least in me, with when I use earplugs and the ability for me to get into deep sleep and dream more. So that was something that was simple that I found out. Some of the nutrients that I like to help with sleep, certain magnesiums, magnesium trionate actually crosses the blood-brain barrier. Magnesium is a very calming mineral, and it's used to calm your muscles. So I love magnesium at night. Making sure there's a little bit of magnesium trionate in that, I think, would be appropriate. And I would start off at, maybe 250 milligrams to 500 milligrams at night, and just kind of see how your body does with that. Melatonin's been studied. Melatonin's interesting. Some people get a stimulatory effect of melatonin and don't feel well, or they feel groggy in the morning with melatonin. Melatonin's released by the pineal gland, and it regulates our daytime and nighttime cycles. And it's got a very, very protective anti-inflammatory effect for the brain and the body. So it is a really, really good hormone that our body produces, and sometimes a little bit of melatonin can be part of that. The other thing, lavender, for instance, lavender has a very soothing, calming effect. Doing an Epsom salt bath, which is magnesium that has lavender in it, before you go to bed, could be a great way of relaxing your muscles and allowing that to improve. There's a whole slew of other natural herbs that can do it. One of the ones that sometimes I'll suggest when my patients say, doc, I'm stressed. It's hard for me to kind of stop thinking about things during to go to bed. And L-theanine, which is an amino acid from green tea, great for anxiety. I usually start at around 400 milligrams at night. So that's another one that I'll use to help with sleep. So there's a lot of adrenal adaptogens that can regulate that cortisol, everything from melatonin to L-theanine to ashwagandha, that can kind of reduce that cortisol output that maybe causes you to wake up early or, makes you a little more restless in the evenings.
Mitoblast.
Oh, Mitoblast, yeah.
You take it in the morning, or you take it at night?
So I would take it in the morning time for sure. Now, I've been on it for such a long time that I can take a significant amount in the evenings and still go to bed. So there's a little bit of natural caffeine, and there's about per 4 capsules, there's 4 milligrams. because of the natural caffeine that's in green tea. So if you're any caffeine sensitive, I wouldn't take it. Comparison, a cup of coffee is about 100 to 120 milligrams of caffeine. So it's a very, very mild amount. It's interesting because one of the things that arginine does, arginine will increase growth hormone in the evening time, especially if there's no carbohydrates at night. So you can actually upregulate your growth hormone by taking arginine in the evenings. And growth hormones are restorative hormones. So it helps with sleep. It helps you feel more rested when you wake up. It's also very important for supporting your muscles, keeping your body lean. So it helps you keep your muscle mass on and helps you burn fat. So I do take it in the evenings. It does not bother me, but I can have an espresso at dinner time and go to bed and have absolutely no problems falling asleep or staying asleep. And I monitor that. My wife, on the other hand, she can't have coffee after probably 9 or 10 in the morning. It'll keep her up. So, so everyone's a little bit different. I would say take it in the morning for sure, or early afternoon. And the therapeutic dose is 4 pills in the morning and 4 pills in the early afternoon. Most people that I start on that, I don't start with that much, but when I looked at clinical studies of all the ingredients, I wanted to make sure every ingredient was at a clinical level. That's the dosing that I came up with to get at those clinical levels. So, you can take a nutrient, but if it's not at the level that it needs to be to get its clinical effect, you're not going to get the effect.